a little late, but we're right around the same time I said we are going to start. And I'll be joined here today with, well, Goats and Jacob with Very Good Knife Company. Jacob, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself here.
Howdy, howdy, guys. Name's Jacob Sweet. I'm a owner and maker at Very Good Knife Company. Been making knives since about 2010, and it's been a job ever since. And I've gotten this good opportunity to work with Gabe on some really nice knives, and that's brought us together today. We're going to talk about the new release.
The Hawk. The Hawk will be releasing this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
Yep.
And then at the moment, there's going to be 39-ish of them.
Yeah, about 39. I was going to do one extra in Nitro V. That's what I had. And then Gabe was like, nope, that's mine.
That's mine. I've already laid claim to it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the mail. It's on the way. It should be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but
Actually, I stated to you earlier, I don't even have my own knife at the moment. I sent my Hawk to Jacob Peterson to try out and stuff because he's been pretty interested in it.
has he talked to you about it?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a good
Well,
looking knife.
I know I've been quite a fan of it, and even before I had the Hawk, I had the your good old classic adventure, and I really liked the adventure, and then I ended up getting the uh, adventure junior. I really like it, and I was kind of thinking like, man, something kind of in between those sizes,
For sure.
and kind of a Warncliffe blade would be a pretty cool combo.
Yeah, and it's turned out pretty nice. It's quite the pretty blade.
And I hate to say it, but as much as I like my Huntsman, I think I like the Hawk even better.
Well, you know, carrying around your Huntsman to do all the work things is not practical, but this can go everywhere with you.
Yeah, yeah,
That changes things.
having that blade that can go everywhere. Now, granted, here in my state, most people don't even bat an eye if I am carrying this around,
No,
but yeah, but
no, they don't really down here. Nobody really says anything. I'm sure they will. I haven't tested that theory in a while, so maybe I
it,
should.
I think that might depend on where you go, though. I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure. Absolutely.
out here in the Great Plains and Sticks of Missouri, nobody really cares. So
There's not hardly anybody there to care.
that's how I like to keep it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Yeah, that's the problem with North Georgia. Well, Georgia in general is it's so dang populated right now.
What is the, or well, you probably don't know offhand. I'm curious what the population of Georgia is. I know it's significantly more than Missouri, but
Yeah, it's pretty high. I mean, Atlanta alone is I don't know, it's probably 10 million.
that's
I don't know the numbers honestly.
because
I'm either
I
way
think
overshooting it or way undershooting it.
I think the entire state of Missouri is less than six or right at 6 million or something
It's
like
pretty
that.
low.
Yeah, and I think even Missouri is getting, or parts of Missouri is getting more populated than I'd even care for. Like I've told my wife, if we have to like evacuate Missouri, we're going up to like Wyoming or something where people will just leave us the hell alone or something.
She just looked it up. It's 10.91 million
Hmm.
and for the entire state of Georgia. And that was 2022. So it's at least probably 13 million now.
Yeah,
There's been a whole bunch of people that's just appeared here, spawned.
yeah. Well, I think every state's kind of dealing with that.
What's up, John? I saw John pop in the comments.
Yeah, John popped in, and then my twin brother, the doppelganger,
Yep,
popped in.
Kenny. What's
Yeah,
up, Kenny?
is that
Kenny.
Kenny?
Yeah, that's Kenny.
That's Kenny's. It's
Yeah.
gonna be going out before too long.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll probably send it out with the rest of them. I got all the Nitro V ones done today. I still gotta do the sheaths for them though. This one's just kinda hanging around. I just went and etched this one so I could have have it to show. Now, all I've got left to do is, 27 more in ADCRV2.
Nice,
Yep,
nice.
and that just to put handles on them. I did all the blade work last week, so that helped quite a bit.
Yeah, I turned John with Heavyset Tactical onto the Adventure Junior,
Yeah, he
and
really likes it.
yeah, because I like the Adventure, but the Adventure Junior just kind of is really, I don't know. There's just something about the Adventure Junior and Nitro V that is like the perfect combo.
All anything smaller than like an adventure, I like the Nitro V for.
Yeah.
Something I'm not gonna be really using super heavy, but I want it to stay sharp for a long period of time. That's and not have to really finicky with oil.
Well, what's crazy is I've seen a few people talking about it, and I'm gonna, obviously I haven't come out with my review on this, but I've seen some people comparing your Nitro V to some higher end super steels, and they're actually getting results that makes the super steels not look so super anymore. I'm half about to say stupid steels. I don't
The
know.
super steel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had this discussion before too, and I don't think it can be talked about enough, to be honest. When the new steels come out and they're tested and really put through their paces by the people that understand them, they get a good name and then they get buried by something else really quickly. That's just the name of the game. The only way you're gonna ever stay on top is to keep trying to find the next big thing, I guess. But
Well, it's kind of like you've said, though, is some of these guys they switch to the newest, latest, greatest thing so often that they don't really ever perfect
right,
steel. And I've personally have come across some Magna cuts that's from smaller makers and stuff, and I don't honestly think it's worth a crap, quite frankly. And
yeah, it's everything is no good when done wrong, of course. And there's a lot of hell. That's a touchy subject. I guess not on this channel, but I guess for me, if you're not going to spend time with learning it, then you can't really say that you've tried it at all. Doing 5 or 6 blades out of a piece of steel is not trying the steel. I mean, you gotta really dive in and find the errors with the steel and find its tolerances high and low and figure out what it can handle and what it can't handle. And only until you've figured out exactly what it can and can't handle can you find that happy medium and get the maximum potential out of a steel. And
yeah. So I got a curious question. How long did you use Nitro V and or ADCRV2 before you kind of decided that's the steel that I like to use? And what other steels did you kind of compare it to kind of come to that conclusion?
so I've used AEBL a good bit, and when Nitro V first came out, we were already using New Jersey Steel Baron steel, and that was I don't remember the year it was, but it was a good probably 7 or 8 years, maybe longer. And we weren't plate quenching it then because I didn't have any plates. I was air quenching it, and doing that, you just get a lot of warpage, and I just couldn't ever seem to get them straight as I wanted. I did a good bit of them. I would say probably 50 or 60 I did with some Nitro V. They were good, and against AEBL, it wasn't that noticeable of a difference, I guess, because I wasn't doing it proper for either of them. Um, I think the thing with the edge is just hardness. That's what everybody's chasing now is hardness. It's just
Sorry, I got a kid on a 4-wheeler that decided to just ramp up his. He,
so ADC RV2. I've been using ADC RV2 for over 10 years. Well, I first saw or heard about ADC RV2 watching Trollsky's channel. Have you ever watched Trollsky Knives?
I have
I was
not.
watching his stuff a long time ago. I've been subscribed to him. I got to meet him at Blade Show. I guess he goes there a good bit, or has for a couple of times, but I just haven't seen him there. But anyhow, I first learned about ADC RV2 watching his stuff, and his channel's a good 13 or 14 years old, maybe 10 or 12. But I've used a whole bunch of ADC RV2. I've been using that more than anything else. The only other thing that I've come close to using that much would be O1 or 52-100. When I worked for Premium Knife Supply doing their blades, their blanks, I was using. They were doing O1, and they were all laser jet, and they had a bunch of slag on them, and like water jet was not really a thing. It wasn't as much of a thing then. So like plasma table laser jet, they were all crusty and full of slag, and the steel itself. I'm not a fan of O1. I've done a good couple thousand blades at O1, heat treated and all, and I don't know. I think even at its maximum potential, it wasn't as good as D2, and I did a good bit of D2 for them, and I tried a good bit on our own with two Jakes. Came to the conclusion I didn't like it either because it work hardens so easily and so quick. I just hated grinding anything to do with D2. And when we started using 52-100 and like 8670 and like 10, we started using the alpha version of ADC RV2, which is like 1080 plus. That's what they market it as. It's just pretty much ADC RV2. But I've used a whole bunch of pretty much every carbon steel known to man. Have tried forging with all of them anyway. 1095 is like the SE 1095 is about as good as 1095 gets, and it's not like you can't replicate it. You can, but in truth, once I learned about ADC RV2 and learned how to do it right, it was just eons above 1095 to me. And nobody had
But
heard about it
80s.
like 8 years ago. Nobody had heard about ADC RV2. You'd talk to people if they weren't like a hardcore knife nut, they didn't know anything about it. You know, everyone knows what 1095 is and has for a long time.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Probably 8 years ago, I was still kind of the like Essie Becker head. Just
Yeah.
like give me an Essie, give me a Becker, and I'm good to go type of thing.
Yep.
So I think we've all been at that point at one point or the other. I
Yeah.
guess.
Yep. I've had a couple Essies. I had an Azula, and I had a 3 and a 5, and it's not the 5. It's that special one, and I don't even know what the names are of them.
The laser
Yeah,
strike.
that it was the weird shaped one. It's
Hmm.
not a. I don't even know what they're called, and I
And
traded
then I
it.
got the CM.
I had the I
That's
had the
kind of
green and orange SE3.
okay.
Yeah, the neon yellowish green with the orange handles.
Weird
It
color
was
combos. Like a lot.
hideous. You started bugging out for a second. Best knife for bushcraft.
And, uh,
The best knife for bushcraft.
I well, kind of depends on like what size you're
Yeah,
wanting for bushcraft. Like small, like EDC size, then like the Adventure Junior would be great. Or if you're wanting something bigger, then the Walkabout or even my Huntsman would be so a pretty good
I
solid choice.
think I still want a Huntsman so bad. So I after the Huntsman run, I went and ordered like $1,000 worth of steel, and I was just so tired and I didn't pay any attention. But I ordered 2 billets of steel, the same size. Well, I thought it was the same size as the Huntsman. It got here and it was 5/32 instead of 3/16, and I was like, I know they did not. I know they did not mess that up. They never mess up anything. So I immediately went to my packing slip and looked, and I messed up. So now I got 2 pieces of steel sitting on the shelf that are too big for everything else. So I'll have to come up with a new knife to use it.
Or I guess you could do another run of Hawks with it too, because
Yeah,
that's
I
in
could
five.
cut them. I'd have to cut them down. It's 2 inches wide for those Huntsmen,
Oh,
and yeah,
yeah,
it's huge stuff. Yeah,
this man has such a wide blade.
yeah.
I guess you could. What would might be kind of cool is use the Huntsman handle shape, but make it like a 10-inch blade or so. Make it like a machete or something.
If I could fit it in, if I could fit it in the kiln, I would have already made something massive like that. The Huntsman fills the kiln out from tip to pommel, all the way
It,
from
it,
front to back.
it's kind of maxing it out as of
Yeah,
now.
it leaves a 1/4 inch on each end for me to shut the door.
All right, and by
Yeah.
the way, Tim's at School of Fish is
What's
in
up,
here as well.
Tim?
So be sure to check out his channel and also be sure to check out his upcoming model from Blackwater Knife Co., the Bonefish, I think it's called.
That is a super, super sweet blade.
It's also a worn clip. It's kind of the season of
Yep.
the worn, I
It is the
think.
season of the Warncliffe. Yep. I was thinking that when he's like,
Like
all
I
right, it's time for
my
bonefish. And you're like,
folder for my folder carry to my
Demko, yep.
I don't know why I have a handful of folders. I'm not a big folder guy, but this
I'm not
Demko
either.
like my favorite folder. I keep going back to this one, and I switched out the handles. It came with some plastic kind of groovery grips, but DLT had these aftermarket. I think it was like RTS micarta scales, and so I switched to that. And so
One of them, somebody just said NFK 20. I don't know what I'm looking for, but thick blade stock, smaller in hand. Right here. Adventure.
the good old classic adventure is a hard one to beat.
Yep. Thick blade stock. It's got 3/16, but it's got a super fine distal taper and it's full flat grind. It's only about 22, 25 thousandths behind the edge. It slices like a thin knife, but it's got some. She got booty.
Okay, we got top five knife brands overall. So I'm gonna say very good knife company. I'm gonna say Primitive Bear Knives. I really like him. I'm gonna say Reef Knives. I've become just a fan of Reef Knives for a little while now. Essie's always a great standard. I've kind of graduated past Essie, but I still like Essie.
No matter what, Essie is just it's it's too American, too good, too much of a
I
staple.
feel
It's
like
too tried and true to
an
just deny it.
like a Glock 19.
Yeah,
If you just need like one pistol, grab you a Glock 19. If you
yeah,
just need one knife, an SE is hard to beat.
exactly.
Uh,
Yep.
and then for
Especially for the price.
yeah, especially well at Midway, I showed it on my channel not too long ago. Midway USA had SE6 going for like $130 or something like that with the
Yeah.
three scales, and then they had the SE3 going for right at $100. Which I mean, you can't beat that really for an American made.
Right.
And then for a fifth night brand, I don't know. I might have to think on that one. I can't think of.
That's a tough one. Naming 5 good ones.
And
I really, really,
asked
really,
me they
really love what Alan does over there at PBK. I
so
do.
Allen's Hunter's EDC and his book are amazing knives, and I want to really try one of his. I think it's like the Skunk Bear or Skunk Ape or something. It's just like a big 10-inch chopper. I'd really like one of those. And he just came out with a new model. I don't even know if he has a name for it yet, but I Instagram um, on my Instagram stories, and it had like a orange K-bar looking blade with
Yeah, I saw that one.
dark micarta scales on it. Really
Yep.
like that one.
Yeah, he's got some nice stuff. I don't even have one of his knives yet. I don't have one of his knives yet. I'm gonna have to get one. I'm gonna have to get one soon. I've gone through a lot of his stuff. You got a whole
Yeah.
bunch of subs and a whole bunch of posts. So I've gone
Well,
through
if
his
I had more
website and
money, I
looked at
would
a whole bunch of stuff, and I really like what he's doing.
being on a single income myself, then it's kind of hard to just keep buying a bunch of knives. That's why
It
I
is.
anymore. I I get some knives, and if I haven't touched it in 6 months, I just kind of sell it just because.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've got a bunch of knives, but they're all my own. I've got I've got a good box full of other knives, and the same kind of mentality with the Essies. They just got traded off or used for something else. Because I mean, I was making knives at that time. When I had those, we were doing gun shows. That was like 13 years ago. We were doing gun shows, and I knew a guy that he had a big setup at every gun show, and he sold everyone's knives. And anyway, I traded him a knife for an Essie, one of mine. Of course, it was like a deer antler with somebody else's blade in it, and I just put it together. It was a knife assembly job, but I don't know. Once I started making better knives, those Essies, I just kind of lost interest in them, and they just were no longer as important, and they were the first things on the chopping block.
Yeah, I actually have traded off most of my Essies because there was one point I had almost every Essie that Essie made. Like I just went on like this weird Essie collection binge, and then I realized there was like several of their models that I just didn't really even care for that much. So I just kind of thinned all of them out, and now I have the SE3. I recently got the SE Senseo in a trade because I figured I'd try that one out. And then I have the SE6 and the Hungless, and that's it.
I had the Ontario knockoff of the Essie. Was it like the or Rat 3 or something like that,
Okay.
and I broke it.
Well,
Um,
there's a reason why Ontario's not around it. I,
yeah.
I had a couple Ontarios, and I'm not particularly impressed with them.
No, I mean, they're pretty cheap too, but there was still other options like cold steels. They're
Well,
not amazing, but I'm
if you're just
just saying, like, I've seen some pretty hardcore tests with some cold steel stuff, and
yeah. I tell people all the time, if you're just like broke and you need something, like I suggest a Cold Steel SRK. I just seen one at I was grabbing some goat feed, and I seen a Cold Steel SRK at Tractor Supply, $25. And it's like
yeah.
you can't beat that.
No, they're pretty tough for a $25 knife. Really
Yeah,
are. What's up, PBKG?
yeah. Peterbilt Knife Guy just came in, folks. Be sure to check out his channel as well.
Cassius EDC said pocket checks, and this is what I'm in. This is what is in my pocket.
Okay, so in my
Tradition
pocket,
Junior.
I got Demco 80 20.5. I got the Streamlight Macro Stream, uh, Glock 26, uh, spare mag for the Glock 26, and
Got all kinds of shit.
Adventure Junior.
I guess you don't have much compared to the rest of the EDC clan. Because you're
Well,
carrying a damn sporting
I,
goods store in their pockets.
well, I'd be willing to bet some of the PC clan guys they don't carry half of what they say they
No,
do.
no, or half of it's like on their wrist. watches and rings and stuff like that, or
Yeah.
keychains. I guess if I took pictures of everything, I did when I took that picture of the hawk, I was literally looking everywhere around the house, like, what the hell am I going to put in this picture? Because I don't carry it. I just needed it to look good. It's a
Yeah.
good looking picture, but I don't know. I don't carry that shit. I do carry my watch. I wear my watch, and I carry a lighter for my pipe. And
I do carry a lighter on me. I don't smoke or anything, but I just carry it as a spare fire implement, and then I also keep a little ferro rod on my uh, ridiculous keychain set up, and then um, I usually have a Leatherman on me as well, but my Leatherman fell out of my pocket, and my mom found it in her couch. So it's about a
that's why
hundred.
I quit carrying a Leatherman.
Yeah, I need to figure out a different way to carry the Leatherman because I've lost about two or three Leathermans because of that. Like, there's no way to carry one comfortably unless if you carry it on your hip. But I don't want this like bulky
I
thing.
don't like that. I don't like it like that. For
Yeah.
me, it just ruins it for me. I had this one pair of jeans, two pairs of jeans for a long time that had a pocket on the side that my my Leatherman. I had a Leatherman mechanic, like the 4 or 5 inch model,
Hmm.
and it fit down in there nice and tight and perfect. Slid it out of there like it was made for it. But then that pocket wore completely out, and then it didn't have a bottom anymore. So then it would start falling out, and I, once those pants wore out, then I could never find anything else like that again. So I just quit carrying it because every time I put it in my pocket, I'd sit down and it just slide right out. I hated it on the belt.
Yeah, I've had mine just slide out of the pocket, and I don't know what it is too, but a lot of men's pants these days are like extra giga gay, and they don't have men pockets anymore. Like the pockets from like 10 years ago has gotten smaller and smaller for men's pants, and it's almost like they're like going
Yeah,
in direction as women's pants. Like
yeah,
men's pants today are what women's pants was 20 years ago,
right.
and and so like a lot of the pockets don't work. I thought about when I get my Leatherman back, I thought about even grabbing some of that like Flex Seal or something and just spraying it and giving it that rubber protection.
Yep,
It won't slide out of my pocket.
yep. That's the issue with the Leathermans is they're already slick. Then you pocket carry them and they get just polished.
Hmm.
They'll slide off of rubber.
Peterbilt knife guy wears chick pants. Don't you wear just overalls all the time, Peterbilt? Just wears overalls. So
Well, I don't watch enough of his stuff. I do watch a good bit of it, but I don't watch enough to. I don't think I've ever seen the camera turned around on him.
I'll have to send Peterbilt a couple of your other models for him to play with.
I need to send him something to play with too.
Yeah, I think he needs to play with either an adventure or the walkabout. I think would be kind of right up his alley to kind of mess around with.
Need to send him like a first strike. He likes them. He likes them buoys.
Yeah, yeah.
This
What
one
would
right
be
here.
cool is maybe you use the same handles as this and maybe like a Bowie blade on them.
So Reese with well regulated.
He drew one up
Yeah,
and
he drew one up and sent it to
yeah,
me.
to me. He's like your knife is wrong. This is what you need to.
It's wrong. It's wrong. Yeah. This here's a first strike. I need to send this one to Pete. This is
Peterbilt.
a brass pin,
Hmm.
an OG, a Gen 1.
I eventually want to get your first strikes. I think one of those would be pretty cool to try
They're
out.
awesome. They're awesome. I've got this one. Honestly, I didn't intend to keep this one. It just didn't sell right away, so I started playing with it, and then I got like a scratch on it up here. I never took it to the shop. It just ended up in my plate carrier. So, but I want to do another one with a fuller.
That would be cool.
Yeah, something light, super light. I want to lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, full. How hard are fuller? I've heard people kind of give me mixed opinions on how hard or easy fullers are to do on knives.
Well, if you got a mill and you do them like Alan does on a mill with a ball end mill, that's then it's not that hard. But I don't have a mill. There's one up in the two Jake's shop, but not mine. I would just take and hand grind them on a small wheel. I've got a small wheel to do it. I've done. I posted one a while back, or maybe I never posted it. I'll post it here soon. But I did a double fuller on a
Hmm.
big old, like a 14-inch blade, ADCRV2, like a war blade looking kind of thing. It was
Yeah,
pretty cool, double edge. It was pretty cool. But I hand grind my fullers, and if I could do it quicker, then I would have done it on one already. Um, Also, Reese was messaging me about some blades that he wanted me to do. Asked me if I wanted to do them, and I didn't have a mill to do fullers, so I can't.
yeah. I know he's been looking for somebody to do his little V44 C
Yeah,
for
the little buoy.
yeah because
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's the whole story with him and Work Tough Gear. I know he was gonna have Work Tough do it, and I think they've kind of jerked him around a little bit. But
I think he was saying something about it was too close to another maker's design, and they didn't want to fool with it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I think there's a little bit of toxicity going on there, but we'll kind of leave that out. Uh,
I don't know. I don't know enough about it. So,
yeah.
but I had to turn him down because that was like right when I started the Hawk run, and I was also doing Tim stuff too. I was like, no, I can't do it right now.
Yeah, just kind of got too much stuff going on.
Yeah,
Now I will say, out of the big knives that V4X from Work Tough Gear is like my favorite, just big chopper. Uh,
I
um,
think it's
I
beautiful.
yeah, I will say I think the SE Hungless performs pretty much equally to it, but that is just has like a level of badassitude
Yeah,
level.
it's a fantastic looking blade.
It's like okay, this is what we wanted with the Beck K9 15 years ago.
Yeah, it fell quite a bit short of that.
Yeah,
Yeah, compared to the V44X, for sure. That thing is when I first saw, I think the first one that I saw from Work Tough, like big clip point, was like that Puzon buoy
that's the one that bit me for
that bit you. Yeah, I
yeah.
saw that video.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Felt Knife Guy has that one. He has some of my blood on that knife.
Yeah, I like those the way they do their clip points. I'm a big clip point fan.
Yeah.
Got several of them, like like the first strike. But Reese had sent me that picture of that one that
Felt
he.
Knife Guy hates that knife.
It's got bad
I will
juju.
say, I'm not a big fan of the Puton Wilderness Bowie. Now that I think back on it, like I think the handle is too round. And me and you've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
The V44X, it has kind of more flatter scales
Mhm.
on it, so it's actually really easy to index. But granted, hi dog. But anyways, Mama, sit. Good boy. Anyways, with the V44X, it's really easy to index. And granted, with the Puzon Wilderness Bowie, I should have been putting my hand trying to push down the tree while chopping on it. That was kind of my mistake too. But at the same time, having the knife completely rotate and deflect hit me was also just I think
That's kind
a
of wild.
kind of bad handle design to
Yeah,
begin.
I would trade some comfort for security. That's where I'm at. I would rather get one little blister somewhere and have full control over something. This comes from a childhood of using machetes and almost taking your legs and shit off with them. So,
Well,
just like Walmart machetes with the big plastic round handles.
I used to do a lot of stuff with swords, and I knew like even way back using a sword, you don't want anything with a round handle. Like you want something with kind of some kind of oval or even square off.
Or square, yeah.
Something with a uh 30-40 inch plus blade, then
Yeah.
you really don't want that deflecting
No.
around.
No. No, not with all that weight and momentum. The, I think the V44X is bigger than the Puzon too, isn't it?
No, they're. I did a video where I compared them because you had all the Dave Puzon fangirls like throwing a ball baby bitch fit when the V44X came out because they were like it's an exact copy or something. I did a video like
Yeah, it was I
as if
thought it was pretty
like
close.
a complete dumbass. They are not the same knife at all, and
Yeah.
I think you kind of got the toxic troll mafia on the interweb these days that wants kind of.
Yeah. Sword. What about your sword, little Pope?
Oh, I accidentally slightly stabbed myself in the thigh one time.
I've stabbed myself in the calf with like a keychain knife that had like a 2-inch blade.
Well, this was like a almost 40-inch long blade. What it was and how it was, I very the, the like I barely caught it type of thing. It's a lot worse.
It could always be worse.
Yeah. Uh, we kind of.
The Ozark Trail fangirls are the worst. Benchmade clone. It is a damn Benchmade clone.
It is, yeah.
It's a freaking bug out clone.
A bug out copy
It's
that
exact.
I don't know why, but every YouTuber or most of the knife YouTube world now has like done upteen videos on that Benchmade clone. It's what do you expect a $10 Walmart knife?
I don't know. If
One
you
guy,
expect anything more than failure, then
oh, he did something with the Swiss Tech knife that everybody else is also hyping up, and all he did was just barely baton it, not even hard use baton it, and it just completely baconed up the
oh
edge
yeah,
on it. And he's still like, "Oh, it's still a great knife, and it's still very functional and usable." It's like you completely warped up the edge. It's not very functional at this point.
no, no. I've got a couple knives in my box like that.
Yeah,
Made them, spent a lot of time on them. Was like, damn, this is really nice, and then go play with it and turn the edge into bacon.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay,
that
failure.
like people will hype up this like 10,000 degree or thin edge on a knife, and it's like okay, that's great for cardboard slicing and crap, but try cross grain batoning it
Yeah,
or even hard using it, and even if it survives a little bit of hard use it on a day-to-day basis for a while, and I guarantee you that thin edge ain't gonna last you very long.
no, no. I really, really want to go and just buy the damn thing at Walmart. The 11-inch,
Yeah.
that Ozark Trail 11-inch, whatever the fuck it's called. It's a Buck Reaper clone. And when I first saw it, I was like, "Damn, who's what the hell is that?" Because I mean, they made it to look like a pretty decent looking knife, and it doesn't look bad. It's not great looking, but it's clean and it's
Is it
well.
the
I
one
mean,
like reddish wood looking handles on there?
yeah, it's got gray and black layer G10 that's like texture cut over orange liners or something like that. And they didn't coat the blade. Like the bevels actually look okay. PBKG says it's garbage. Did you
He,
try it?
he's
You did a video and it sucks. Did it break? I need to watch it. Now I need to watch it.
well, he did a video on the Vosteed mink a little while ago, and then I got a Vosteed mink and decided to try one. And overall, I think the Vosteed mink is decent. I don't think their Nitro V is anywhere near as good as yours. But that being said, I did cross grain baton it, and I will. I probably took it out of its realm a little bit because I cross grain batoned some old seasoned walnut, and it did warp the edge pretty bad on it.
Did
Uh,
it?
but you know, to be fair, taking that small of a knife and cross grain batoning it in walnut probably isn't what. And
It's
it's
a test. It's a good test.
yeah, it's a very thin knife too. Um, Another test, I wish I could do it more often, but I don't. I found a couple deer skulls, and so I was smashing things up with a smashing deer skulls, where I found a deer spine, and so was hacking through a deer spine, and one I was very surprised of because it still had the antlers on and everything, but I had that Work Tough Gear V44X, and I chopped through the deer antler and skull and just chopped it into bits. Didn't even phase that. So
Yeah, I hear good things about the work tough stuff for
yeah,
sure. What it's funny once a knife becomes a little compromised, then you just say fuck it and start just destroying it. That's what I would do with things. Once they get compromised, all right, we're gonna just see how bad it actually is and what it can't do
yeah.
from this point. No, it can't do what I just tried to do with it. Now let's just try and continue doing what it can't do. See what happens.
Spine whack test. Yeah, it gives a whole new meaning to it. So I quit doing the deer spine thing just because I had three knives that I tried it with, and two of them got damaged. The only one that didn't get damaged on the deer spine was Jacob Peterson's workhorse knife, and
That's an axe.
that thing is basically like orc Lord of the Rings, like a chop metal or something.
Yeah, it's an axe.
Yeah,
It's a hatchet.
it's just like club o steel.
Yeah, you don't have to hit anybody with the edge. If you do, that's good. But yeah, I was looking at it at Blade Show, and I love it. I think it's great. I think absolutely massively unnecessary things like that is fantastic. It's it's worth doing, and everybody that got one is seemingly happy with it. At least the ones that we've heard from.
And then I took a um I took a piece of Osage and baton workhorse, which usually I won't touch Osage with most knives because a lot of people calls it hedge as well, but it's a very it's what I made that war club out of was a piece of Osage.
Well, yeah, that was the one that you carved with the knot.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah.
just has like this big bulbous on the end of it and
Yeah.
mash the bricks with it and stuff.
Well, that's a formidable weapon. If that's all you got.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I got a few people on YouTube to go along with that challenge to make a war club challenge.
Like Hickok 45 says, better than a sharp stick.
Yeah.
PBKG said axe geometry. Don't even bother with that word. Get out of here with that word. You're not allowed to say geometry.
Geometry. And then just use an axe, you know. If you
Yeah.
take a piss, just use an axe. If you need to cook some bacon, just use an axe. Um, it, Okay, so Missouri Survival just hopped in. He said I screwed up a Condor Swamp Romper on Osage. I believe it. I've messed up some knives and stuff on Osage. But like I said, I don't touch Osage with a lot of stuff. I decided to try it with the workhorse because if any knife was going to handle Osage, it's the workhorse.
We don't have Osage around here.
Hmm.
Doesn't grow in Georgia.
Yeah, it's not real common around here, but if you get it's more so if you get real deep in the woods, you'll find it.
Hmm.
So you kind of get how to get off the
Yeah,
track a little bit, and a lot of people used to like to make bows out of it. It's
yeah,
really good wood for like a bow.
yeah. It is. It is. We have a bunch of hickory.
Yeah,
Hickory's pretty hard. If you try and hit anything like seasoned hickory, if you try and send anything through seasoned hickory, it'll break it.
yeah,
It will. A lot of hickory around here is twisty, and the grain kind of looks straight. Then you'll stick a blade in it, and it'll twist around, and no
yeah.
bueno.
We have hickory. So we do, have a wood stove, and so we'll be cutting all kinds of trees. I would say most commonly we have a lot of oak around here, but which oak ain't no slouch either. But
No, it's not.
I looked it up, and Osage is more than double the hardness than oak and hickory. So just put something in
That's
perspective.
up there.
So like
That's
when
way high.
Osage, like with an axe or a knife, it sounds like you're hitting a rock. It just makes that like tink.
Even green,
Yeah,
even green. So
yeah,
then seasoned, it would just
tink
be impossible.
crap.
Seasoned Osage would be impossible
Yeah,
then.
the one
That's a maybe a good test.
you down a piece of just a Osage log and let you play with it and see what you can take up.
Yeah, I had to send me a piece. I've
Yeah,
shot a couple of Osage longbows, but I've never played with it, never cut with it. I've used Osage on a knife handle, but I mean we're talking like a little block.
yeah. I bet that it would wear out the belt pretty quickly.
Yeah, it just gets gummy.
Yeah,
It'll fill a belt up. It'll
and
fill it up with junk,
I
make it
still
dumb.
have the Osage War Club. I keep it in my car, so like if I need like body an attitude readjustment,
There you go.
it's
An
like
attitude
officer
readjuster.
trying
Yep.
to give him an attitude readjustment. I didn't mean to like explode his head with bloody mess perk on Fallout 4 or something.
You PBKG said trying to split eucalyptus is like hitting an anvil with a hammer. I've played with a piece of eucalyptus. It is like a small piece. It was like about a 6 or 8 inch piece, and it was only about 10 inches long. And you end up with all this stuff when you make knives and you travel because people are like, "Oh, you make knives here? Can you make anything out of this?" And they'll just give it to you. So you end up with a whole bunch of stuff. And eucalyptus is extremely, extremely hard. So is there's another wood called lignum vita,
Hmm.
and it's one of the hardest woods, if not the hardest wood. It might be the hardest wood, and it's almost impossible to work with. It's like it's so hard, but it's not. It's just gummy and resiny, and it's like trying to grind a damn tire.
Yeah. That would be very hard to work with. I know like you said Osage can kind of be like that. Like when I was like carving that war club, I was like, man, this is just a pain in the ass to work with. Like I couldn't imagine trying to make a bow out of
Blue pill of wood. My goodness. Doesn't Joe X have that big giant log of? Isn't it eucalyptus that he's got that big humongous log
it. I'm not
on?
sure. I don't I am subscribed to Joe X, but I don't regularly watch him, if that makes any
I
sense.
don't either, but you know how YouTube's algorithm is. If you watch one, then it'll give you 20 more of their videos and shove them down your throat for the
Yeah.
next 3 days. So I kind of just watch them sporadically here and there, and I'll watch like two or three. He's got this one big giant log. It's like 4 foot long, and he always sends these knives into it, and he beats on them for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes trying to get this knife through it, but it only goes in like this far because the wood is so dang hard. I don't
So,
think you
be
split it.
real. Guy said that there's too much wood talk going on. We're going to be talking. We're going to start talking about sausage now. So, like,
Oh, we're gonna break out the kill bosses here for a minute.
uh,
Golly.
so, I guess we could go back full circle and talk about the hawk. Uh,
Yeah, we could, huh?
10
At
minutes.
least we haven't gone off the governmental conspiracy theory deep end like me and Tim did the other day ago.
Yeah, I kind of did that recently on my latest video. Kind of talking about the two different World War Threes essentially, and you know they
I
want.
agree. I watched it as soon as you sent it to me. I put it on the TV there and watched it. It's pretty good. And Tim, you're down there in Florida. Well, hell, you're not anywhere that should be evacuating. But is it true, Tim, that FEMA is blocking the roads and not letting people evacuate now?
Well,
I'm
I've been
awaiting the response.
hearing shenanigans that FEMA has been doing. Um, so I guess moral of the story is don't trust daddy government.
As if anybody's not been saying that for 100 damn years.
Yeah,
Or, since we landed here, all the all them engines, they say no, no, don't trust the government.
yeah.
No, it's not a conspiracy theory if it's all happening in front of our everyday eyes.
Well, you know what's crazy is we live in a day and age where people believes more of what they see on the television than what they physically are seeing with their own eyeballs.
Yes. You know, it's not even. I don't even know if I can go there, man. I'm losing damn sleep over some of this shit.
Yeah. Well, some like at a certain point, like I don't do a lot of it or just because like what am I going to do about it? You
Right. That's it. Exactly. What are we going to do about it?
know? Like it gets me because I see some of these guys and they're in the like prepper world, quote prepper world, and they're like going on about Russia, Ukraine, Israel, this, blah blah blah, World War III. It's like, do you even got a backpack and a carbine? Like, like can you hike 5 miles?
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
if you can't do those things or you don't even have some food put away, then why are you worried about this?
uh, I know some people. I know some people like that. You got to
Yeah,
have absolutely the baddest, best, the most, so much ammo you couldn't even burn it all.
yeah,
And the biggest, baddest plate carrier, like, dude, where are you gonna go with all that? You're not even gonna get off front porch with that. You're gonna be out of breath by the time you put it on. It's not gonna
yeah.
help you.
They had a
You need to be able to leave.
I hosted a training event one time, and I had everybody just grab their backpack, their like chest rig, plate carrier, and their rifle, and we did just like a quick little half-mile jog is all we did, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna go through this tactical course, and it was so pathetic just seeing a lot of these.
We're here in spirit. That's it.
Yeah,
We make up for it in enthusiasm and willingness to just go for it. We might die just trying to get there, but we're,
like,
we're
guys, I think
coming.
we got some other things we need to work on here.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about this Friday. I think everybody's gonna like this one. This is gonna be a pretty popular one.
I think the hawk is going. Well, one, like I think I like the hawk even better than I do the huntsman, and I think the hawk is probably going to be one of your, you know, hopefully be one of the better seller blade.
Yeah, we'll definitely do another run. I already know. I've been turning people down on the Huntsman. It's been fairly requested, but I can't do anything but those when I'm doing them, which is why I just have to dedicate time to doing a run. But
Yeah,
something this size, I can do those. Those are just a kind of a throw in. The Huntsman is not just a throw it in for this week. It's a damn project.
Tim Schoolfish said the Huntsman is just more niche. Everybody can use a hawk. I agree. I
Yep.
think
Yep.
the uh, hawk is just a more everyday friendly kind of knife, really.
Yep.
And if you, a lot of people, if you've never used a sax style blade, I think there's a reason why people did use it. It's just a very practical and easy to use blade.
Yep.
Very easy to sharpen.
Something about that tip angle, it always just the amount of
A lot of,
pressure you're able to put into it is
like a future run is maybe suggest doing some jimping on the Warncliffe part itself.
oh, up front here.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
just like a light jimping up there.
Somewhere in the midsection there for your
Yeah,
fingertip.
I
Yeah, that would be cool.
when I was testing out the hawk for my video, I, man, some jimping right there might be cool actually.
I don't like jimping up here in the thumb area. I never found that I would want it. I put
I
it
like
on some of my knives.
because it right there in the thumb area is where I like to strike a ferro rod. So
Right.
when you're jumping there, then it kind of makes you have to pull the blade a little farther
Yeah.
down.
I don't know if you ever noticed with any of the knives that you've got from me, but sometimes my spines are a little sharper out towards this mid to front section here. Like my Adventure and my Rambler both have. I mean, they're sharp all the way back, and they'll strike a ferro rod. But the best place for them to strike is somewhere out here. And so I've kind of become accustomed to striking way out there because I can get my thumb really far out on the blade over near the ferro rod, and I like doing it that way.
My brother brought up a point. For like potential self defense use, a sax actually kind of good merits with it, just because while a lot of say it kind a sax with the just the tip going in actually will dig into like especially cloth. There's a guy on YouTube named Theg Thrand, and he does like a lot of like medieval weapon testing and stuff. And he tested some big knives against like armor and clothing and stuff like that. And he had like a Bowie knife and a sax, and it was actually very surprising how the sax actually outperformed a lot of them in like clothing and armor and stuff
Right,
because the way the sax is, it almost stabs as you chop.
right.
In a
Yeah,
sense.
well, as you were, if you were to like use it as a thrusting weapon, I guess you got to be careful how you word things on the internet nowadays. But if you were to puncture with it, as it would start to build up resistance here, it would just drive it down into the edge and make it cut even deeper,
Hmm.
as opposed to something like a drop point where you're relying
Just
solely on the edge to do the work. Yeah,
yeah,
and force. Yeah,
and being angry, extremely angry, probably helps.
yeah, that helps for sure. A little bit of psychotic rage, a little bit of what they call them, berserker rage.
Yeah, so basically, hopped up on crazy wild Viking mushrooms and a lot of testosterone and probably some
Yeah,
weed. And
yep, yep. A whole bunch of anger and rage, and I'm ready to go home.
Papa
That'll
Ryan
do it.
popped in, said, "Howdy, Huntsman." I still, I think if you're the right guy, I still got your knife that I test out too on my um, channel. It's a Polish MK brand, so I've never heard of it, but I seen Jacob Peterson try it out, so I was like, oh, I'll give it a try.
Heck
Now,
yeah. Full tang nestmuck as an EDC for defense. I'm wondering because it's got like a straighter kind of an edge, like a true nestmuck has got a whole bunch of back end and not a lot of belly.
Yeah, I could potentially see it. Yeah, I mean, I've only had one or two Nessmucks over the years. One of them being the SE JG5, which I actually thought was actually a pretty decent knife. Uh, I don't even think they make that one anymore. But
That knife fighting thing. Every knife instructor, knife fighting instructor, defense instructor, anybody that I know of taking knife fighting classes or training, the first thing they tell you when you're knife fighting, the first thing you reach for is your Glock.
yeah, Glock.
What's the best knife for a knife fight? Glock 19. That's it. Your damn two legs. Run the hell away.
Yeah, yeah.
I would rather take a bullet. I don't
Well,
want to be
we're right
sliced.
an hour, so um, I kind of like to try to keep these right about an hour or so. So thank you guys for showing up, and thank you for watching, Jacob. Thank you for hopping on.
Absolutely,
We
absolutely.
rambled and went around in all,
Yeah.
but you kind of how I like to keep it, anyways,
Hey,
right?
we got a good crowd in here. Everybody's having fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're kind of having our own conversation, and then they're kind of having their conversation.
That's
Like
how it usually goes.
it's they're in the comments. They're just like, I don't know what the hell these guys are talking, but
I
we're
don't
down here. But
think,
um,
yeah.
oh, remember the Hawk releases Friday at on the 11th. It's going to be dropping at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and there's going to be roughly
About 30
39.
and 39, 38 of them, somewhere
All
around there. Yep,
right. So
yep.
thank you all for showing up, and yeah, they are turning the frogs gay.
They're turning frogs gay. Oh,
I think
I've
that's a
got
good way to
that.
wrap up.
That is,
They're
that
turning the
is.
freaking frogs gay. All right, you all have a good